20 below zero this morning, but in just 72 hours, some of you will be hitting 60 degrees. This isn't normal, and what's coming next will reshape the rest of December. Right now, across the Midwest and Ohio Valley, we're experiencing one of the most intense cold snaps in recent memory. Minneapolis just recorded 20 degrees below zero, Chicago sitting at zero. Wind chills? Try 40 below in some areas. But here's what almost no one is talking about. This extreme cold is actually setting up something far more unusual. A rare weather pattern is developing right now that meteorologists only see once every few years. And by Thursday, the same places that are frozen solid today will be warmer than San Francisco. I'm going to show you exactly why this is happening, where the biggest temperature swings will occur, and what this means for your Christmas plans. But first, you need to understand what just happened in the last 24 hours. The snowstorm that moved through yesterday overperformed in almost every location. Tilton, Illinois recorded just over 8 inches. But here's the shocking part. Widespread areas across central Illinois saw 6 to 8 inches of accumulation. Indianapolis just recorded its second snowiest start to winter on record. That record goes back to 1884. 141 years of data. Think about that. And the snow isn't done yet. Right now, it's still falling across southern New England, New York City, and parts of Virginia. This will continue through lunchtime today. If you're watching the Patriots and Bills game later, expect snow at kickoff in southeastern Massachusetts. Cape Cod? They're looking at 6 to 7 inches total by this evening. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And this is the part you can't miss at the 3-minute 20 mark. New York City is going to pick up 2 to 4 inches. Long Island and southeastern Pennsylvania? Some spots will see 5 to 6 inches. Washington, D.C. is getting measurable snow. When's the last time that happened in mid-December? But forget about the snow for a moment. What's happening with our Jetstream is about to change everything. And I mean everything. Think of the Jetstream as a massive river of air, 30,000 feet above your head, controlling all of our weather. Right now, that river has a huge dip right over the Midwest. That dip is acting like a funnel, pouring Arctic air straight down from Canada into the heart of America. That's why you're freezing right now. Tomorrow, that dip shifts east. If you're in Virginia, the Carolinas, Florida, or Georgia, late Sunday into Monday is when you'll feel this blast. And yes, northern Florida will drop below freezing Monday morning. But behind this Arctic air, something completely different is building. By Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to see a massive ridge of high pressure develop across the Great Plains and the desert Southwest. This is the game changer. When this happens, temperatures don't just warm up gradually. They surge. We're talking about a 60 to 80 degree temperature increase in just a couple of days across Nebraska, the Dakotas, and parts of the Midwest. Let me put that in perspective. Minneapolis this morning, 20 below zero. By Wednesday afternoon, they could be in the 30s. Some areas in Nebraska will go from 10 below to 50 above in 72 hours. That's a 60-degree swing in 3 days. Now, if you have snow on the ground in Iowa, Indiana, or Illinois, enjoy it while it lasts, because what's about to happen will melt it fast. And I do mean fast. The best part about this warm-up? I'll tell you at the 8-minute mark. But first, you need to understand the chain reaction this creates. When temperatures spike this dramatically after heavy snow, 3 things happen. First, rapid snowmelt. Second, runoff into already saturated ground. Third, rising river levels. This is why timing matters so much. And this is happening right before Christmas. But there's another piece to this puzzle, and it's developing right now on the opposite side of the country. The Pacific Northwest is about to get absolutely hammered. An atmospheric river is targeting Washington and Oregon. If you're not familiar with atmospheric rivers, think of them as rivers in the sky, massive corridors of moisture that can dump incredible amounts of rain in a very short time. This one is powerful, multi-day event. And rivers in western Washington that are already at major flood stage? They're about to get worse. Tuesday night into early Wednesday will be the worst day for Washington and Oregon. Heavy rainfall, mudslides, and river levels that could approach catastrophic thresholds in some areas. This is the kind of setup that doesn't happen often, but when it does, it makes headlines. Now here's the connection most people miss. That moisture from the atmospheric river doesn't just stop in the Pacific Northwest. Eventually, it crosses the Rockies, and when it does, it creates storms on the other side. Which brings us to what's coming later this week. By Wednesday and Thursday, a very intense low-pressure system will form over the northern Rockies into southern Canada. Winter storm conditions are likely there. But here's what affects you. This system will bring the potential for winter weather to the upper Midwest and northern plains by Thursday. Not as severe as what we just saw, but it's on the table. And Thursday in the Ohio Valley, we could see strong thunderstorms. I'm not ruling out isolated damaging winds. The tornado risk appears low, but when you have this much energy in the atmosphere, things can change quickly. Friday, this storm system moves into the northeast, mostly rain for New England. Snow stays mainly in Canada. But here's the twist at the 12-minute mark that changes the forecast again. Late Friday and Saturday, more moisture comes over the Rockies. Another storm system tries to develop by Saturday and Sunday. We're not sure how intense this one will be yet, but snow is possible again in the Midwest and Great Lakes. Maybe another round of thunderstorms in the Ohio Valley late Saturday and Sunday. So you've got a pattern that just won't quit. Cold, warm, storms, more cold, more storms. This is active, and it's all happening in the 10 days before Christmas. Let me walk you through what this means for your temperatures, day by day, city by city, because the details matter here. Today, Sunday, most of you in the Midwest are 40 to 45 degrees below average. That's not a typo. 45 degrees below where you should be for mid-December. Minneapolis, Chicago, Springfield, Indianapolis, all running extreme cold. But this only lasts about 2 days for most locations. Monday morning, the coldest air centers over Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois. The East Coast will be 10 to 15 degrees below average. But notice what's happening along the West Coast. Warm air is building, and it's moving east. By Tuesday afternoon, most of the central and northern plains will be 20 to 30 degrees above average. Many areas will finally get above freezing. If you don't make it Tuesday, Wednesday looks even better, especially in the Dakotas, Nebraska, Illinois, and parts of the Ohio Valley. You'll be right around average, which means many of you will climb above 32 degrees. Thursday is forecasted to be the warmest day of the entire week. This is important. Widespread areas across the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and back into the Mid-South will be 10 to 20 degrees above average. If you're in Illinois or Indiana, temperatures at 9 a.m. on Thursday could be right around or above 50 degrees. 50 degrees! After being near zero just 4 days earlier, snow will melt very quickly. In fact, we're looking at 36 to 48 hours of above freezing temperatures. That's enough to eliminate most of the snowpack in those areas. But those warm temperatures won't last all day Thursday. A line of showers and thunderstorms will move through, dropping temperatures on the back side of that line. Still, you'll stay above freezing, which is the key point. Friday brings another Arctic blast, but not as widespread as what we just experienced. This one targets Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan mainly. A cold front will sweep across the Ohio Valley and East Coast, dropping temperatures by 10 to 15 degrees. And here's a concern. Any snow still on roadways could refreeze into ice Friday morning. Keep that in mind. Friday and Saturday, it remains very warm across the southern plains. Many areas in Texas will reach the 80s on Saturday. The 80s, in late December. Some locations in Arkansas, Texas, and Kentucky could approach record-high temperatures Saturday afternoon. Then, as we get closer to Christmas, things become less certain. But the trend right now shows above-average temperatures likely across the Great Plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Desert Southwest. If you're along the Gulf Coast or in the Southern Plains, you can basically wave winter goodbye for now. The Climate Prediction Center is forecasting above-average temperatures between December 21st and 27th for almost the entire United States. The only exceptions? The Pacific Northwest and the extreme northern areas like North Dakota, Minnesota, and New England. Everyone else? Warmer than normal. This is a torch scenario. Get your winter jackets back in the closet if you're in Texas or Oklahoma. You won't need them for a while. Now let's talk about what's coming in terms of actual precipitation. Because this is where things get really interesting at the 18-minute mark. The Pacific Northwest story is going to dominate headlines all week. Washington and Oregon are going to see extremely heavy rainfall over a multi-day stretch. We have rivers in western Washington already at major flood level. Some have been there for several days. This week will make it worse. The atmospheric river responsible for this is very strong. When you have this much moisture hitting the mountains, the rainfall totals can be staggering. And when that water runs off into rivers that are already swollen, you get dangerous flooding. Most of this moisture will actually track a bit further north over the next 5 days, which means southern Canada will see heavy snow, but in the United States, we won't see as much transfer of that moisture over the Rockies initially. Wednesday continues the heavy rain and mountain snow across the Pacific Northwest. Tuesday night into early Wednesday looks like the peak of the event. If you're in western Washington or Oregon, be prepared for potential mudslides and road closures. Late Wednesday and early Thursday, that intense low-pressure system I mentioned forms over the northern Rockies into southern Canada. Winter storm conditions are likely in parts of southern Canada. This could bring some winter storm conditions to the upper Midwest and northern plains by Thursday. Strong to even isolated severe thunderstorms are on the table in the Ohio Valley Thursday. I wouldn't rule out some isolated damaging winds, though I'm not expecting a significant tornado risk. Friday, as this storm moves into the northeast, snow stays mainly in Canada, lots of rain across New England, but not expecting much snow accumulation there. Late Friday and Saturday, here comes the next wave. More moisture over the Rockies trying to create another storm system by Saturday and Sunday. The intensity is still uncertain, but snow is possible in the Midwest and Great Lakes. Maybe another round of showers and thunderstorms in the Ohio Valley late Saturday and Sunday. And then we get to Christmas. We don't know yet what precipitation will look like on Christmas Day. But here's what we do know. There will be moisture somewhere in the United States. Someone will see snow on Christmas. At a bare minimum, we should still have a white Christmas for most of the Midwest and northern plains, as temperatures will remain below average in those areas. So let me tie this all together, because this is the forecast that matters for your planning. We're in the middle of a dangerous cold snap right now. 20 below in some areas, 40 below wind chills. This lasts through Monday for most of you. Then everything flips. Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures surge. 60 to 80 degree increases in some locations. Snow melts rapidly. Rivers rise. By Thursday, some of you will be hitting 50 degrees or higher. That's your warmest day. Meanwhile, the Pacific Northwest gets pounded with heavy rain all week. Rivers flooding. Mudslides possible. This is a serious situation developing there. Then Friday brings another cold front, though not as intense. Temperatures drop, especially in the upper Midwest. Refreezing is a concern on roadways Friday morning. The weekend stays warm across the South. Near record temperatures possible Saturday in Texas, Arkansas, and Kentucky. But more storm systems are trying to develop, bringing potential snow back to the Midwest and Great Lakes. As we approach Christmas, the pattern favors above-average temperatures for most of the country. The exceptions are the Pacific Northwest, the extreme northern tier, and possibly parts of New England. Everyone else is looking at a warmer-than-normal holiday week. This is not a typical December pattern. The temperature swings are extreme, the storm track is active, and the timing couldn't be more impactful, happening right during the holiday travel period. What you need to do right now, if you're in the extreme cold, stay safe through Monday. If you have snow on the ground in the Midwest, prepare for rapid melting Wednesday and Thursday. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, monitor river levels and be ready for heavy rain this week. And if you're traveling for Christmas, stay flexible. This pattern could shift. One more thing before we wrap up. The next 72 hours are critical. We'll be tracking that atmospheric river closely. We'll be watching how quickly temperatures rise across the Midwest, and we'll be monitoring those potential storm systems developing for next weekend. The pattern we're in right now is rare, it's dynamic, and it's going to keep us busy all the way through Christmas. Tomorrow's update will have more details on exactly when the warmest air arrives in your area and updated snow chances for next weekend. You won't want to miss it because the forecast could shift as new data comes in. That's the forecast. Stay safe out there, especially if you're in the extreme cold right now. And remember, this is a rapidly evolving situation. Check back for updates.